All right, everybody. How are we doing today? Welcome back to another episode of the Robbie Basel Show. I was hoping today to come with you with an ability to make a couple of big announcements. Unfortunately, that's not happening yet. I have a massive announcement that will be happening on Wednesday's episode of Into the Stands because this week's episode was canceled due to the rain that happened on Wednesday. That big rainstorm that happened, it shut down parts of campus and it shut down the building that we do WIUR in and for our show, which this is actually the last year that we'll be doing episodes from the bottom of La Penta Student Union. We'll be doing episodes next year in Murphy, so W's for that. But that's one thing. So yeah, sorry about last week. This week's episode being canceled for the second week in a row. And one other thing is, you won't see me on. So there's upcoming schedule with the episode on the 10th, the 27th, and the 24th. That's the game plan. Those will be the last three Into the Stands episodes that I will be on. That is confirmed. As of right now, we'll still have to. We're trying to get the details for the episode on the 24th because that week is just going to be absolute chaos. But all the news about the NFL draft, all of that is getting confirmed and will be announced next week on what the game plan is. We'll be doing. I know what's going to happen is that we'll be doing streams of the NFL draft either here. I know the game plan is for a stream on this channel on Friday from I think 6:30 to the end of round 3. That's the game plan right now. Unfortunately, on Friday, there is some ESPN stuff that I will have to take care of. So that could be like altered a little bit, but it will still be able to do a stream for you guys. W's in the chat, GG's in the chat. I'm not streaming. What the hell am I saying? I'm too used to watching streamers. Just watch my friend Cam. Shout out to the Ball Knowers podcast. They are. I just actually just watched them. They will be a big part of what will be part of will be one of the bigger parts of an upcoming announcement that will be on Into the Stands on Wednesday. So the start of Into the Stands, we'll be making the announcement. We're not messing around with this. Make sure to check it out. Link to the channels in the description. But let's get to the couple of topics that we need to address today. There's not much, again, because, well, what else is there really to talk about? Next week, just for giving you what's going to be upcoming, next Tuesday should be the Masters. We'll be talking about golf next week and what to watch out for in the Masters. I know we're talking about that. I also know on Tuesday that video, actually, no. We're not even recording a video on Tuesday. What the hell am I saying? That video, I believe, is actually going to get recorded on midday Monday due to some other things that are going on. So, I actually have no idea how we're going to do that episode on Tuesday. Well, yet, at least. But there hopefully will be an episode on Tuesday. I am possibly doing a broadcast on Tuesday afternoon. So if there is an episode on Tuesday and I'm recording it on Tuesday, it'll probably be later in the day on Tuesday. That's what I'm expecting. But let's once again make sure to follow at the Robbie Basel Show or my personal Instagram at @Basel_11. So you don't miss an update on what's going on. But Masters is next. Champions League is next. And what was my other one? Oh, right. Final Four breakdown of the whole March Madness. Exactly what we're talking about. Also, future videos to watch out for. We will be doing the final video with Dylan on the Premier League. I've talked to him about it a couple days ago. Also, I will be doing videos, as mentioned before, on Copa America and the Euros. So I might do a watch along for one of the Copa America matches. I don't know what I'm gonna do for that. Comment below if you want that. I don't know. I don't know what you guys want. And make sure to hit the subscribe button. I would appreciate if you guys hit the subscribe button. Very useful for me. And also comment below what sports you want to hear more about. But we have Premier League, college basketball, and Formula One to talk about today. So let's not mess around. What is us? Oh, and Major League Baseball. How could I forget Major League Baseball? Because that's what we're talking about first today. And let me load up what we're going to be talking about. The first order of business in baseball. Also, shout out to the Yankees having their home opener today. The first topic, this was a follower requested one. Shout out to AG, the Giants fan, who wanted me to talk about the New York Mets. And I will, AG. I got you, bro. I will talk about the New York Mets. Let us talk about the New York Mets. And ignore the ads and all that. One sec, guys. I know my hair is a disaster. Chill out about it. I don't think many people care about it. But let us get into the topic of discussion. The New York Mets started the 2024 season in a very New York Mets fashion. I'll put it like that, because the New York Mets went out and lost the first 5, blowing leads. We lost to the Tigers. We got swept by the Brewers. It was horrible to watch for the New York Mets. And then the New York Mets went out and played this game against the Detroit Tigers, giving the Tigers their first loss of the season. Now, here's what you want to know. At one point in this doubleheader yesterday, because of the rain on Monday and Tuesday, Tuesday and Wednesday, the New York Mets were no hit for 13 consecutive innings. I didn't think that was possible. I thought they were trolling me when I heard about that today. But let's just talk about this team. We know from what Carlos Mendoza said and what Steve Cohen said that the big worry about this team is starting pitching. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I've never really agreed with it, because what we are seeing right now is the struggles on the offensive side of the ball. Like, let's look at this. You have to take a look at the batting averages.
Geico makes
which
car insurance is easy.
I don't know what the hell is going on. Yeah, ads suck.
He is getting stuffed up during allergy season.
Yeah, sorry for the scuffness of this episode. Off rip. But let's take a look at the offensive numbers. Brandon Nimmo, 048. Francisco Lindor, 042. Joey Wendell, he just played his first game. Harrison Bader, 200. There's only one player on offense that's really doing something for this team, and that is, we'll click on his name because he's the only one being relevant right now, and that is Francisco Alvarez, who is hitting 400 with 1 home run and 4 runs batted in. So, in saying this, the New York Mets, they are a mess. What we also know is that, oh my God, the pitching actually did way better than expected. You saw yesterday in the game that the Mets won, Jose Butto looked really, really good. And we had Reed Garrett sealed the game, 3 innings. He actually got the win after the Mets walked it off, courtesy of Tyrone Taylor, to give the Mets their first win. Matt Manning for the Tigers actually looked great. I thought he was really solid. He walked 4. That was his only knock for me, was the 4 walks, but he didn't allow a hit. So fair play. They left a lot of runners on base. Both teams did. Both left 6 on base. The surprise for me so far from this team probably has been Riley. It was going to be Riley Green. I don't think that would do him any justice. It's not really a player that's really going crazy for them offensively either. It's the starting pitching and the bullpen. It's really helped the Tigers through their first 6 games. But nonetheless, the Tigers are off to a 5-1 start, and the Mets cannot do anything on offense. And that's what's really hurting them. Also, I just wanted to make sure everyone's okay. The earthquake earlier, that was a little bit worrying. I'm just gonna mute this. Sorry about all the technical issues. That was crazy earlier. What's weird was I didn't feel anything from it. So hopefully no one got like any damage or anything. It was the first time I ever even heard of an earthquake that big hit New York or like the surrounding area. But let's take a look at the standings. The New York Mets are in shambles. They are away, at least have a win. Taking a look at the standings from this week, the Yankees still sit atop. They're playing their home opener today. They are playing against the Blue Jays, who are off to a very Toronto Blue Jays start. The only issue has been that they haven't played a home game yet, which is how, but that's a fun thing to look at. The other surprise, of course, has to be the Tigers, who I really hyped up in the predictions video. The Tigers have won 5 of their first 6. They haven't played a home game yet either. The Guardians, what a start for Cleveland. Where the hell has this come from? Cleveland and offense. I didn't think that you would put 2 and 2 together. Let us take a look at the stats for the not the Detroit Tigers, the Cleveland Guardians. They are led, by, of course, by Steven Kwan, who we were expecting, along with J. Ram. Andres Jimenez is off to a decent start. He's hitting over 300. Brian Rocchio, I think is how you say that. He's hitting 269, which is not bad. Will Brennan, Josh Naylor. They have a lot of people actually really contributing on offense, which is, as a person who's an analyst, did not expect that. But the Guardians, they've won 6 of 8. They've also not played a home game yet. The Twins, they're off to a slower start. They're at 3-3. They actually lost their home opener, I believe, very recently. The Royals and the White Sox are terrible. In the West, the surprising slow start continues to the Astros. They've lost 5 of 7, albeit they've lost to the Yankees. And the Houston Astros are a very weird topic of discussion because they went out and took 2 of 3 from Toronto. They play the Rangers next, which will be very fun to watch for, and that'll be one of my series that I would want to watch out for. The Rangers, the Angels, another surprising one. They're at 4-2. The Mariners at 3-4, and the Athletics have somehow won a game. But now that we will talk about the Athletics very, very soon because they are in the news again. It's the Athletics. What else would you expect at this point? In the National League, in your standings update, the East is in complete shambles. The Marlins are the only team that haven't won a game yet. You thought it was going to be the Mets, but it's not, apparently. They also lost Yuri Perez for the season, which F's in chat for him. I'm not streaming. Why am I saying that? Whatever. The Mets are in 4th, despite only being 2.5 games behind the Braves after starting 1-5. In the Central, the Pirates have still played no good teams. They went out and played the Nationals and the what was the other team? They played this is what I want to look at. Let's take a look at the Pittsburgh Pirates. They played the Nationals. They also played the Marlins. They played Baltimore. They're probably going to get absolutely annihilated, which is what I think a lot of people want because the Pirates should not be this good. The Brew Crew, another team off to a good start after beating up on the Mets. It's weird to say that every team in the NL Central is at 500 or better to start the season. Fair play to most of those teams. Out west, the Rockies are the Rockies. The Giants are off to a very slow start. Let's take a look at the San Francisco Giants. They're off to a concerning start. They just got swept by the Dodgers. They play the Padres again, which begs the question, what the hell is the schedule? Like, why? Why is this the schedule? Because if you look at the upcoming schedule for the Giants, following the Padres again, they get to play the Nationals, which, albeit, is awesome because it's the Nationals. Like, what the hell? They played the Padres tonight, 4:30, which will be starting before the video goes out. And they have the Nationals, the Rays, and the Marlins. So 3 beatable teams. Hopefully a rebound for the San Francisco Giants, who have gotten off to a unsurprisingly cold start to some. We're just going to take a brief look at the wild card standings because that's what we do here. The Guardians, the Baltimore, and the Red Sox, of course they are. The Brew Crew, the Cubs, and the Reds, and that's all we'll be talking about for baseball. Oh, wait a minute, not so fast. We're going to take a look at an article today that happened yesterday, and you probably will see it. Let's take a look at this article, chat. Athletics to play at minor league park before Vegas residency. Tim Cohen, great writer, by the way. I love Tim Cohen. Keown, excuse me. I've said it. I always say that wrong. The Athletics will leave Oakland after the 2024 season. Will play at least 3 years in a minor league ballpark in West Sacramento. Now, you're probably saying, Robbie, what the hell is this? Why is the Athletics going to Sacramento? Isn't that a more irrelevant city than Oakland? And I will tell you, probably is. But Sacramento actually has a minor league baseball team. I believe that's an affiliate with the Giants, maybe? I don't even know anymore because those minor league teams get thrown around like candy. But as it says here, Oakland ends their 56-year tenure. The weird part although they are going to be moving, it is the Giants AAA team. I was right. Um, the weird one, other than John Fisher actually saying something, this is I actually love this quote. I just want to say we're excited to be here for the next 3 years. Playing in this beautiful ballpark will also be able to watch some of the greatest players in baseball, whether it be athletics players or Aaron Judge and others that launch home runs out of this very intimate, most intimate ballpark in Major League Baseball the next 3 years. Which, one, doesn't sound like great grammar at all. But in all seriousness, look at this part. As I keep screwing this up, the team will not include a city name in its branding. They will simply be known as the A's. And it begs you the question, what the hell is this? Like, we've seen some horrible ways of promoting a team. We've seen it in the past. What we haven't seen is something this bad. I have never seen something like this before. And not even having a city in the front of your name. What the hell is this? This sounds like a decision that either a 4-year-old would make, or this sounds like a decision a 4-year-old would make, honestly. Like, are we sure the athletics are not ran by preschoolers? Because I don't know anyone with the right mind would make a decision like this. I don't know. It's a very weird situation. I feel bad for the A's. I feel bad for the people that are a part of it as part of the staff. I feel bad for the fans. I feel bad for most of them. I don't feel bad for John Fisher because he's acting like an idiot. The A's, come on, man. I'm done talking about this. The A's, really? The A's? Come on, man. I'm done with baseball. I'm getting too mad over baseball today, chat. There's also another story that we have to talk about later. We're going to save it for the end. And I try to find the article for them later. But we will be heading into our second topic, which will be March Madness, because that's what we do here on this channel. We will be talking about March Madness for the second to last time this calendar year, because that's just what we do. We know where we're at in the tournament. We talked about them last time. We'll talk about it again. We have UConn and Alabama tomorrow night, as well as North Carolina State and Purdue. Well, let's break these games down a little bit more. What do I expect to happen from both of these two games? Alabama. We'll start with them because I think everyone's going to pick UConn to be Alabama. Alabama beat some very good. Let's look at Alabama's path first. They beat a decent Charleston team. They were able to beat Grand Canyon, who upset St. Mary's. They beat North Carolina, and they beat Clemson, which sounds like a college football playoff game from 3 years ago. But what does all those games, pretty much other than Grand Canyon for some reason, that's the weirdest one of them all, what do they all have in common? Look at the offense. 109, 89, 89 again, 72. We'll ignore that. But they played again. That's a good defensive team in Grand Canyon. Now they're going up against UConn. The only way that Alabama can beat UConn is with offense. And we'll take a look at this game now. Alabama and UConn. It's at 8:49. I'm very excited. We'll look at the stats here. Look at the three-point numbers. 30 attempted three-pointers per game on average. 30. How is this possible? I have no idea. I don't know. They offensively rebound pretty decent, and the defensive rebounds is actually pretty similar as well. But I'm looking at a better team in distribution with the assists, and they also turn it over 2 more turnovers per game. And Alabama also fouls a lot more. And UConn's defense is what's really going to help them in this game. I like UConn. Not because they're the 1 seed, but they're the better all-around group, if that makes sense. I'll just list you a couple of players that UConn will use. You talk about Tristan Newton, who's arguably one of the best guards in the country. We saw that last year as well. Cam Spencer, a very good scorer. You can even call him an elite scorer. They have Klingon in the inside, along with, I'm forgetting somebody. Let's look at this. Let's find. We have Donovan Clingan and Alex Caravan. That's who it is. We talked about Cam Spencer. Here he is, number 12, Cam Spencer. We already talked about my boy Tristan Newton. I don't know what I just did. We talked about Tristan Newton. He's been going crazy. We talked about Caravan. Diarra, number 10, off the bench. He's pretty good. They have Johnson, 35. You'll see him off the bench probably for Caravan. Stefan Castle, number 5. He's actually played very good this tournament as well. Overall, this team is so much more well-rounded. Let's look at Alabama. Who are we watching out for on Bama? Of course, you got to talk about Grant Nelson, number 2. I'll be watching out for him. And Sears, number 1. He is a baller. He will be shooting shots left and right. Estrada as well, solid defender, can score the ball well. We talked about Griffin, number 3. He's also very solid. Pringle, 23 as well. They have a very good squad. They're going to have to shoot lights out if they want to beat this UConn team. I really think that's the big key. Can Alabama's, because UConn defends the 3 also very well. And then in this game, which will be your first game on Saturday, of course we know what we're watching out for. It's the battle in the post. Zach Edey against, you already know who it is. Let's go find him, against my boy DJ Burns. Now, DJ Horn also is going to be a player to watch out for. Marcel O'Connell is actually a Mineola native. Shout out to O'Connell. I think it's Matt O'Connell. I think that's what it is. I don't know. Taylor, number 1, also very good. Middlebrooks in the post. He's going to be probably rotating a little bit with DJ Burns. I think the more even matchup would be Middlebrooks against Edey. But the big difference is going to be that DJ Burns is going to be so much more physical than Edey is going to be. I know a lot of people were complaining about, the refs favor Zach Edey. I don't believe that. Some of the things you learn as a player at like high school levels and when you're a coach as well, one thing that you can't do is have 2 hands on the body. A lot of people do go 2 hands on the body. Maybe they bring their arms down to get on the arm of Zach Edey. You can't do that. You have to go straight up. You can't come down at all, or that's a foul. You reach in. You do something small, it will be called a foul. People are going to say, the game needs to be more physical. It is physical. Look what DJ Burns goes through every week. You see what he can go through. Edey's going through contact as well. Of course, we're going to be watching out for Zach Edey in this game. But I think that the guards, Braden Smith, number 3, he's going to be, I think, have a bigger impact. Him against DJ Horn is going to be great. You have Jones, 55. You talk about Lawyer, number 2. There are some very impactful players in this game. I like Purdue. If you look at the stats now, Purdue is going to dominate, I think, in the rebounding game. If NC State can't even threaten in the rebounding game, I think they're going to have a chance. It's not a great chance. I am going to go with Purdue over North Carolina State, and I'm going to go with UConn beating Bama, setting up a national championship between Purdue and UConn on the 8th at 9th. I think it's 9 something. I don't know what time the exact game will be at. That game will be one of the better games. This will be a much better national championship game than last year. We know that already. But the way these two teams match up, elite guard play, elite forward play, player of the year on one side, a ton of top players on the other. UConn should win this national title again. But I think Purdue will find a way to come out on top. That's my belief. I believe that since the start of the whole tournament, I think Purdue should win. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, I think, and if you really think about it, any of the 4 teams can win this thing. It's very true. Because it's March Madness. If we've learned anything, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, if we've learned anything, everything is possible. On to Premier League action. While I type this out, I need to find, because I completely forgot about this story. I just need to type this out. So we're going to be talking about a semi-professional soccer team later, chat. On to the Premier League. And it's time for your weekly whatever the hell. Here we go. We'll go over the games from the midweek because that's just what we do. We'll go over that first. We'll start with Tuesday. We had Newcastle draw Everton. Forest finished up beating Fulham. Bournemouth beat Palace. We talked about Burnley. They got that bad draw against Wolves. They did blow. West Ham and Tottenham did draw, which very interesting result. The big result here, though, I think is Burnley because they actually got a point. They made up ground on Luton Town, and at Everton, they stayed the course. On the third, we had Arsenal beat the aforementioned Luton. Brentford played a terrible match against Brighton, ended 0-0. Let us actually take a look at the I need to find a stat here. This is what I love about FootMob, which I can't show on here because I don't know how to access it, unless it just click through a website. I don't know. Was this the game with... Actually, it wasn't. I thought I was reading the wrong game, but apparently it was the wrong contest. Brentford played a terrible 0-0, and City beat Villa because City is just better than Villa. On Thursday, we had Liverpool edge it out against Sheffield United somehow. But I think the biggest result of the week was Nottingham Forest. They are 3 points clear of the drop. The surprise team that I think could really still have a chance to get out of relegation is Burnley, who I was really high on in the beginning of the year. Because of some of their upcoming games, we could actually have a battle for the relegation spot between Burnley and Nottingham Forest at the end of the year, which would be really fun. But we have to talk about our game of the week, which was Chelsea against Manchester United. Now, some people will disagree with a lot of the penalties. Were there a couple I disagreed with? Maybe. But at the end of the day, did United really deserve to get a win out of this? Be honest with yourselves. Gallagher scored the opening goal. United go on a tear. They go up. It was actually 2-2 at the half after Gallagher scored the penalty to Palmer. Then Garnacho and Fernandes got back-to-back. And then we had the chaos with Garnacho scoring again to go 3-2 up. And then Cole Palmer got the penalty and then scored his hat trick, finishing it up against Enzo Fernandez. Cold Palmer is ice cold as he goes out and wins it for Blues 4-3 over Manchester United. You know, when you're outshot by Chelsea, outpossessed, out-XG'd by Chelsea, that is a problem, ladies and gentlemen. If you're getting dominated by Chelsea, you don't deserve the win. And I will stand by that. But United did this to themselves. All of this complaining, all of this, we're United. We deserve every call. Shut up. Just shut up. Your team blew it. You can complain about officials, but really, you guys used to get all the calls years ago. Sometimes things do come back to haunt teams. And United have done this to themselves. And it's awesome because now they're 11 points back of fourth. 11. And look what they still have to play. They still have to play Liverpool. They play them on Sunday. We'll talk about that game later. They still have to play Arsenal again. And while they do have to play Sheffield, Burnley, Palace, and more, you got to remember about where we were with this team a couple of months ago. Because you have to remember, I forgot to plug in my laptop. You have to remember that this team went out and got beaten. Let's go back. I know these fans don't like to go back to this. You guys got beaten 4-3 by Copenhagen. Remember that. And you blew it late. It's a repeat. It's rinse and repeat from United here. You go out and get a lead, and you consequently go up 3-2, you blow it again. It's a rinse and repeat. Chelsea fans who are partially delusional, also will say that. Some of them are, not all. Chelsea are 5 points back of Manchester United. Chelsea can actually still have a chance to get a European spot this year. Do they deserve it? Absolutely not. But I think this week they will make significant ground. They play Sheffield and Everton. What is the schedule? They finish it off facing Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth. Beautiful schedule. Chelsea are in a good spot, a better spot than we were thinking of earlier, and now it's time to go to the fixture list for this week. Saturday. What am I watching out for? The biggest game of that day is obviously Arsenal against Brighton because of how many points Arsenal needs. I think Palace can cause problems for City. They did it last year at Selhurst. If not for a Haaland penalty, Palace would have gotten a point, even though they got out XG'd off the field. The one I will be watching out for early on is at Goodison Park with Burnley and Everton, because if Burnley find a way to win this match, Burnley will be only 4 points clear, 4 points behind Everton, which would really put them in conversation to not get relegated. And quite frankly, this is one of the few games left that Burnley actually has a chance to win. I'm looking at their schedule. I only think they have about 3 winnable matches left that they can guarantee themselves to win, which is Everton, Sheffield, and Nottingham Forest, all relegation teams. Sprinkled in there, of course, they have Brighton, they have Manchester United away, Newcastle, and Spurs. Burnley is one of those teams, though, historically, that won't go down easily without a fight. I think they're going to beat Everton. If Everton wins, they're probably safe. If they lose, the relegation battle heats up again. I will love it because it's so much fun, this relegation battle this year. We have some mid-table games like Fulham and Newcastle. Luton need a win against Bournemouth to make this interesting, because it will be interesting. Because I just want to bring this up as well. If no one knows this, the teams that are going to be coming from the championship are actually pretty good, to my eye at least. Because the championship is actually way more fun than people have sorted out to be. You have the probable return of Leeds. You have Ipswich Town. Leicester could be coming back. Southampton. Coventry can make a run. We talk about them in the FA Cup when their match comes up in a couple of weeks. So, this relegation battle is heating up. The teams that can get promoted are actually very solid. But the game I'm watching out for in the early session will be Everton against Burnley, even though I won't be able to watch it due to some work I have to take care of. But, yeah, I mean, Everton-Burnley is going to be fun. Arsenal-Brighton, of course, at the American Express Stadium, which I didn't even know was called that. That's how much my ball knowledge is. That will be fun. This is the game of the week. This is it. And, of course, it's on freaking Peacock, which doesn't make any sense, but listen, they're greedy with the money. United are going to go out and lose to Liverpool 2-0. It says multiple broadcasters. Here's how you can watch this game, ladies and gentlemen. It says I think a game's going to be on. I don't know. United play Liverpool. Have fun. Liverpool should win. Sheffield are going to obviously beat Chelsea because why not? And Spurs should beat Nottingham Forest 17-0. In all seriousness, it's going to be a 2-0. Sheffield are going to. I think they have a good chance of drawing Chelsea for how bad the Blues are on the road. But anything I believe is possible. This is a 2-0, and that's all I will say on that. To my favorite story of the day, and I just have to click out all these notifications. We are going to a matchup in U.S. soccer in the U.S. Open Cup. And while my hair is terrible right now, and I am clicking buttons that I keep forgetting are the wrong buttons, we have a story in the U.S. Open Cup. El Farolito are back. I think I briefly talked about them before. They're an amateur team named after a popular burrito spot. Went out and won in the U.S. Open Cup again. We'll pause this here so we have nothing that comes up. The Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, which if you don't know is without most of the MLS teams this year. El Farolito has moved on to the third round. They went out. They've beaten an MLS Next Pro team, which is like 18-year-olds from the Portland Timbers. And they went out and beat USL League One side Central Valley Fuego. El Farolito, who plays in the USL 2 league in one of the conferences divisions over there. They actually have won this before, and then they got killed in the Champions Cup against Necaxa. And did they play in MPSL? I don't even know. I thought they played. My mistake. I think they played in MPSL. They're not in USL 2. My mistake. I also forgot to mention about Christos, who are from Baltimore. They're named after a liquor store. And they were in 20s. This is like a rinse and repeat story from 7 years ago. They played the Fire and then got their butt kicked by DC United later on after beating Chicago, because why not? But yeah, El Farolito, an non-MLS side, has not won the competition since '99 when the Rochester Rhinos did it, which I think this year is the only season that will have a chance because the MLS isn't, I think, shambles. But yeah, El Farolito, the burrito team. This is not the Burger League anymore, ladies and gentlemen. It's the burrito. You can argue that it's a burrito league. It's in California. You can call whatever league you want. Finally, tonight, or today, depending on when you're watching this video, we have Formula One. We will not have a graphic for Formula One because of the ads that are on this website. There's a couple of stories I want to talk about first before we talk about the race, particularly with Sebastian Vettel. Now, I love Seb. Seb is great. He is amazing. He is linked to a... Let's read this article, shall we? Toto Wolff admits Vettel is never a name you can discount amid rumors of an F1 possible comeback. Now, yesterday, we learned about a possible let's look what he says. This article says, having recently taken part in an endurance test with Porsche, Vettel acknowledged that he could potentially be interested in returning to Formula One, as well as saying that he has been in conversations with Toto Wolff, though he added that there was not really about the seat that would become available at the team in 2025 after Lewis Hamilton's switch to Ferrari. What? You know, it would be fitting for him to come back, and then Fernando to re-sign or go to Mercedes. I don't know. There's a lot of things that can happen here. Seb, I think, is flirting with the idea of going racing again since Toto Wolff. That's all I need to hear. If this is possible, chat, this would be crazy. Because you have one of the best drivers of all time, arguably one of the best drivers of all time, going up. I mean, it's also very fitting for him to be talking about this as his favorite track in Suzuka, which is, we are in Japan this week, chat. Let's talk about it let's talk about it. FP2 was irrelevant. FP1, the big story of FP1, other than Logan Sargent now driving Alex Albon's repaired car and crashed it, was the situation at Visa Cash App Racing Bulls. And I hyped up Daniel Ricciardo a lot in the F1 season preview. I don't think I should have done that because there's an ultimatum now for him. And today, this morning or last night, depending on where you watch this from, we had a new face jumping into a Visa Cash App RB, which was, which is our friend. Is it Io Awasa? I actually don't know how to say his name. Ayumu Awasa. That's right. Ayumu Awasa, who is Japanese, driving for a Japanese-based team because it's ran by Honda, of course. But the big story here is that he jumped into Ricciardo's seat in his home country and did not do very good. He went P16, 2 seconds off of Verstappen in FP1 today. Before the red flag, which is concerning. Because I thought the original thought was going to be that Ricciardo, if he sucked, was going to get replaced by Liam Lawson, Because we saw how good Liam Lawson was last year, briefly. But going to a guy like Iwasa, and Iwasa not doing that great, Iwasa, for those who don't know, drives in Super Formula, is, I think, more concerning. I don't know. Maybe he could be the Tsunoda replacement next year. I don't know. I like Iwasa, though. He's actually very good. We saw him in Formula 2. He's a good driver in Formula 2. He's been with the Red Bull Academy, which is why we're seeing him to begin with. But that's just the thing to watch out for. FP1 was terrible. FP2 was more or less the same. We saw some people go out, but there was not really any laps in FP2. FP1 dominated by Verstappen because it's Verstappen. My predicted race order for this week, I'm going to go with Verstappen, and I'm going to go with Hamilton. Actually drove really well today, but I'm not going to go with Hamilton second. We're going to go with Red Bull 1-2 in revenge from last week, because they have actually brought upgrades, and their upgrades look pretty good. P3, I'm going to go with Charles Leclerc. P4, Sainz. P5, Hamilton. P6, Alonso. 7th, Russell. 8, Piastri. 9, Norris. 10, I want to go with the upgraded Esteban Ocon. But I'm not going to go with Esteban Ocon. I am going to go with a 3-peat for Haas. I'm going to go with Hulkenberg. And then just missing out is going to be Tsunoda, Albon, Ocon, Bottas, Stroll. Then we're going to go with Ricciardo, Gasly, we'll go with Magnussen, Gasly, Zhou, and Sargent. That's my full order. That's my predictions. Make sure to hit the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel. That'll be the end of today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, hit the like button, subscribe. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the Final Four, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, a reminder, big announcement Wednesday on Into the Stands. But for now, I'm Robbie Basel saying so long. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, everyone.